3, 2, 1. Welcome to Strong Personalities. This is your host, Yanni Bear. Today, I am talking to Kim Scott as she is 1 week away from taking on the nation at USS Nationals in Denver, Colorado. Kim, how you doing today?
I am awesome. How are you?
I'm good. So you just had a short little training session. I think you said that you were just doing sandbags and yoga. Yep. How's the body feeling? How are you mentally feeling for next week's challenge?
Body is good. Body's good. Body's ready. Mind is ready. I forget who I was messaging today. Somebody popped in my DMs and was asking the same question. And I think the exact sentence I said was, I am absolutely ready to just unleash chaos. Like,
yep. Controlled chaos, right?
Yes,
Controlled chaos.
Yes, controlled chaos.
All right. So you are actually competing in the under 165. You're one of 21 athletes.
Yeah.
All right. So are there any particular names that kind of stand out as your biggest challengers to, get top of the mountain? Since we're going to be in Denver.
Honestly, all of them. I am a 165. I'm new. I'm usually the smaller person, so I don't know many of these women.
All right. So can I give you a little fun fact about your division?
Okay.
Based on the number of athletes that you are competing against, you are going against the highest percentage of platinum level athletes out of anybody else.
That's amazing. What an amazing privilege.
Yeah. So for people who are not aware, Iron Podium has a ranking system, and then your top level athletes that take into account their performance in set competitions, the number of athletes they go against, how much they've traveled. Kim is actually our highest ranked female, but she is still going against 10 other athletes that are at the platinum level. And historically, when you look at competitions in the final podium finish, you can kind of go based on like the platinum finishes, the diamond finishes, the golds. Those are good predictors on how they're going to finish. You're going against 10 of them.
That's pretty amazing. I love that's why I do it. That's why I do what I do. That's why I'm in 165. If it's not hard, if it's not scary, if it's not challenging, don't do it.
Right. Oh, well, it's funny you say that because one of the quotes that I dug up on from like your Facebook post and everything is, this life going to be the death of me.
Yep.
And you talked about how like no matter death is going to be at the end for all of us. So you're going to live your life any way that you want. How does that mentality help you when it comes to being in the competition against so many people in a big spotlight in your hometown? Because I feel like that's a little bit more pressure.
Absolutely. I definitely feel the pressure, but at the same time, knowing that my outcome for everybody on this earth, no matter what it is death, it also lessens that pressure. I'm going to live hard. I'm going to live fast, and it's going to be for me. And the only person that can put pressure is me. So I control that. I directly control the amount of pressure. Nobody else does. Right now, I have no pressure. I just show up and I have a strong and fun Strongman Saturday. Show day is easy because training's hard. Training's almost done. Hard part's almost done. Party time's next week.
Do you like to party? How do you like to party after a competition?
That has changed so dramatically. When I first got into it, I was younger. I was in my 20s, probably a late night bar, partying with friends, eating pretty trashy foods. Now hopefully I found all my stuff that I have exploded all over the arena. My husband is wonderful, and he's behind me picking everything up, and he's like carrying me to the car. And I usually fall asleep on the way home.
Aw, well, at least for you, this is, again, you were Denver's Strongest Woman 2023. You live in close to Denver, right?
Yes.
Pretty close to Denver. So and I've seen you travel everywhere for your competitions. How big of an advantage is that for you compared to when you have to travel? How big of a difference is it?
The person that you're seeing here today, just being so happy and excited, is directly correlated to me not traveling. Traveling to me is a very mentally taxing activity. I am a worrier. I worry about TSA. I worry about flight times. I worry about delays. I worry about the hotel not having my information. And it's ridiculous because if anyone that has met me or has traveled with me, they know my husband takes care of all of those things. He He makes sure all of those things are taken care of. Like, I don't have to panic because he's there, but I still let it happen and I still let it creep in. So this being home allows me to shelf that and just honestly immerse myself in the experience.
I love that. All right. So real quick, let's go through some of the events. The first one is going to be the circus dumbbell using the Slater Monster bells. You're going to go for max reps in 60 seconds with 100 pounds.
Yeah. So I read 100 pounds about 3-4 months ago and was like, 100 pounds for reps.
Yeah.
Different. Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm very excited for that event. It is an event that I've worked very hard on. I've had to rehab some awesome shoulder wonkiness in Scotland. So I can definitely say I'm not 100% physically, but that's okay. No one's ever 100% physically. I was talking to Anthony about it, San Lorenzo, just running through like my mental on it. And he's like, everybody's got stuff.
Yep. I feel like historically what I've noticed is if there isn't a little minor aches, like you didn't push hard enough, you know what I mean? So
yeah. I'm being smart. This has made me prep smarter. It's made me work with Terry even harder on, just understanding training loads. Like, you do not have to train 100% loads every session. Like, there's no reason for that. And
this is Terry Ratty we're talking about?
Yes, that's good. Yep.
Do I say his last name right? Is it Ratty or huh?
Rady.
Got it. Terry Rady. My bad, Terry. Event 2 is going to be the yoke walk. So it's 50 feet down, turn around 50 feet back, 500 pounds.
Rude.
That is 3 times body weight from what you weigh in at.
Yes. It's rude is what it is. It's the down and back. Down, fine, crush my soul, fine. But like in back. If anybody knows me, they know I hate a heavy yoke. I hate it. I'm a speed yoke person. I like my spine where it's at. I like that I'm sort of still 5'6". I probably lost a little bit training, but darn, I hate that. It's going to be okay. I'm going to do it. I'm going to execute, but I'm going to be mad about it.
Is that the event you're most worried about?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if worried is a word that I have right now. It's all, I'm deep in feels right now. So I'm more like, do you feel strong here? Do you feel confident here? Things like that. Yoke is probably something that I put a mental pressure on myself. Tournament of Titans, forget what year I did the pro class there, and the yoke was 505. And I trained it, and I never dropped it once in training, not once. And I dropped it 2 times in that show, and that's always here. So I think part of me is like, go do your job and show yourself. You don't have to. You don't have to drop it. You don't have to falter.
All right. So next is going to be the power bar deadlift for reps, 365 pounds. That's 2.2 times body weight from when you weigh in. How are you feeling about that one?
Very excited. That's going to be delish. Yeah.
Is deadlift one of your fortes, regardless if it's a max or for reps?
I am not the strongest deadlifter by any stretch of the mind, but I love it. I love the struggle of a deadlift. I love that you can't negotiate with yourself. There's not like, well, I'll see. Oh, I'll give it a shot. You have to do it.
Yeah.
That about it.
All right. Up next, we have the sandbag to shoulder and then carry. So that's going to be 3 sandbags at 150, 170, 190. You have to get it on your shoulder and then run over and throw it over a yoke that is going to be 52 inches tall. How tall are you again?
Yep. Like right here.
Okay. Again, how are you feeling about that one?
I'm excited for that one. That's going to be an athletic, explosive event. And I like that because I feel like a lot of people, especially at OSG, when those faster events came up, they're like, we won't worry about her. I'm actually secretly kind of excited about an athletic event. So I'm pumped for the first 2 bags. I think everybody mentally is like, oh, those first 2 bags, it's that 3rd bag.
Yep.
Not a 3rd bag.
When you're tired, event 4 at Nationals, that posterior chain is going to be a little bit taxed. So real quick, before we move on to the last event, Luke Davis posted something where he's challenging promoters to really take into account height of athletes on the lighter divisions, because I've seen competitions in Clash of the 64, what was it, 2 years ago? I remember the last platform for the stone to platform event was actually taller than like 4 of the athletes.
Yes.
So they had to knock that one out.
Yes.
So is that something that you've also seen in person at the competitions that you've competed where you're like, they're not taking height into account? This
Absolutely.
is more dangerous for us because we have to overextend.
Absolutely. When I was first starting out younger, it's definitely something I saw a lot more of. And I think that was directly in correlation to, I think as women, specifically women in the sport, we maybe feel a little less able to go, hey, Mr. Promoter, just question here. I'm having difficulty, to this height, or is this okay? Whereas I feel like there's more 50-50 meeting in the middle between promoter and athlete now, where you can say like, hey, I have a concern here. And generally it's addressed. So I still see it, but it's less because the women are empowered to say, hey, I don't know that this is going to work for us.
Yeah, especially with how much the women's divisions has grown. Me, since I first jumped in at the end of 2019, I think you've been doing it since 2018. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so you've seen it explode from, I bet you used to see maybe, 2 other athletes?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. We couldn't fill a podium, that's for sure. I remember now it's like, it's awesome.
Now you got multiple weight classes filling up in the 10s to 20s to even 30s in certain divisions. So the height thing is a big important thing. Because even on the guy side, on the smaller divisions, I'm like, some of these events, especially the sandbag or the stone, I feel like they're a banana by the time that they have to put something up. So cool. I just wanted to see if you had experience with that as well. So moving on to the last event, we're doing the stone over bar for reps. You are using a 195-pound stone to 48 inches.
Yes.
Is that what, your shoulders?
Negotiable.
Yeah. Is that your shoulders for you?
48. No. I'm a little bit taller even with lifters. 48's like to here on me, really. So
okay.
Honestly, it's a good height for me. I do have to make sure, and I'm sure Terry's ears are burning right now, stay patient in the extension. There's no reason to go on your tippy toes too soon.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of athletes rush trying to get the bar, and then it just bounces them back.
Yes.
I think Jessica, who just won the Pro Strongman Leg Super Series, she's one of my
awesome series to watch.
Yeah, and she's what was it, the year before when it at the Clash on the coast, she got 23 stone over the bar, and it was like each one looked exactly the same. Maybe a little bit slower when she got to the teens, but it was almost the exact same rep. I'm
so impressed by that. Yeah, amazing.
Since you started in 2018, what athletes have you kind of what athletes do you feel like you kind of relate to when it comes to the size and strength, when it comes to the events that you do? And then which ones, if you have anybody, have you aspired to like catch up to? Sure. Or have you caught up to?
Yeah, I mean, like, so catching up isn't something, I guess, like I would say, like, I worry about. I think I more or less look at, I love watching others grow. It's really been something that I am getting more, like, it's filling my cup up more. When I first started, my training partner, Tanner Manthe, she's a pro SC from, 2020, maybe 2019. I'm not sure the year. So I would always aspire, if I could get at that time, a 140 log, a 150 log, that's setting the standard. And looking back at those, 2018, 2019, 2020, it's funny, like a 140 log, even in a lightweight class, like that's warm up weight, but I look to Rhiannon, Holly, Carly Oliveira. I look to all of those ladies, Lauren Ryder in 165, Nancy. Those are the girls, Hannah. All of those girls, we were in the trenches together, and we're still in the trenches together. And we're all, if you look at it, taking off in way different directions and strengths. And it's so cool. Like, you can't put either of them in one category and say, this one's better than that, then better than that. And just seeing that has been extremely rewarding.
I love that. Y'all have really pushed each other. Yeah. It's just the difference between the first competition I emceed for a 64 kilo competition to the ones from just last year alone to OSG and everything. It's like it explodes. Now, speaking of OSG real quick, you got 12th. You tied for 12th, right? Okay. Yeah. And from looking at your scores, you were pretty consistent on your placings on all of them.
Yeah.
What have you done in the last, what is it now, 7 months or 6 months since OSG to start closing the gap to get to the finals, get that top 10?
Yeah, I think what I've done is I'm listening to my body more. I'm not pushing through pain. I'm not having crappy sessions and just putting up with it. I've changed that mental approach. A lot of it, honestly, it feels like a mental shift versus a physical shift. Yes, I've put strength on. Yes, I've gained confidence in my movements, but I think it's in relation to listening to my coaching staff, Terry, Justin Loy. There's no reason to show up to the gym if you haven't slept or eaten properly. There's no reason to train through your knee doesn't feel right, your back doesn't feel right. Doing those things negatively impact you. And now I'm 2 to 3 weeks into a training cycle, and there's no reason to do that. So I haven't been doing those things, and I'm having much more positive outcomes in my trainings.
I love that. One of the things that I know I've talked to with a lot of the athletes that I've interviewed, a lot of the promoters, strongman, we have a natural tendency to try to push through pain. You coming from CrossFit, and then also me coming from CrossFit, I knew some of that was just keep pushing to get that extra rep. Do you feel like that still comes, that mentality came from CrossFit, or have you kind of always been just let's tough through whatever the situation is?
I've always been a let's just tough through it. Only child, played travel sports, college prep, high school, university, it's just push through, just do it, grit, bear it, grit your teeth, whatever you're going to do, just get through it. And then the older you get, it's you know what? I had a really hard day at work today. I had to think a lot. My brain's not there. I'm not going to train. I'm going to have a bad day. My son has football playoffs. Normally my husband would take care of it. And I would, and whatever, when we get done the gym, we'll catch up. No, I want to be there. I want to see him. We'll train a different day. That's the shift that I've noticed. And it took me to 36 to get there, but we're here.
I love it. So you're so you competed at OSG at 73, but you've also competed at the 64. Which one do you feel the strongest? Which one brings the best version of yourself?
73s.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yes. I'm fed. I'm recovered. I'm not hurt. I'm not injured. I'm not on a cut. I'm able to train the way that I need to train. When I was cutting for 64s, 4-6 weeks out, training's getting pretty grimy. I'm feeling pretty beat up. 4 weeks out, can't hit those 85 percentages, can't hit those 75s. As a 73, I'm recovered. I feel good. I'm not push pressing, 220 for reps, but I'm going to show up. You're going to get a better version of me than you would at 64.
Yep. Because even, are you having to make any kind of cut for this?
No, I'm underweight right now. I'm chilling at 160. Justin's blowing my phone up as we're speaking. Hey, did you eat?
Oh, wait, who was blowing up your phone?
Justin Loy. He's my nutritionist. I work with Prestige Prestige too. Yeah.
So let's touch on that. You've mentioned Terry Rady. You've mentioned Justin what?
Justin Loy.
Justin Lloyd. Who else makes up your support team? I know Sean takes care of your traveling.
Yeah, Sean's the Sherpa. He does all the things. Terry's my programming coach, strongman coach. Justin's my food guy. Both of them are my psychiatrists, whether they know that or not. They are. And then if I need any mental fine tuning, if I need any head checks, I'll call up Andy Triana.
Oh, who's Andy Trion?
Yeah. So Go Superbrain.
No, please tell me about that. I'm not familiar with that.
So Go Superbrain on he's on Instagram, but Andy Triana, he's also a professional strongman. Shoot, I've Nick Strauss, my friend of mine who also does strongman with me. He's used him as a coach for as long as I've known Nick, 7-8 years now. And Andy's just one of those super methodical dudes that just knows how to get in there, unlock stuff that's weighing you down, set you up for just success. And he's kind of like my sports psychologist guy. We work on, just envisioning and that mental prep. 2 weeks out, mental check-in. 1 week out, mental check-in. Where are you at?
Okay. So when you mentioned earlier that you're just kind of feeling all your feels right now, right? Yeah. What are the feels? What are can you describe or can you tell us about what are the feels that you're feeling leading up to a competition? How do they change the closer you get?
Absolutely. So for me, I start with utter confidence. I don't even have to train this. It's mine. Don't even worry about it. And then I usually get into like my training sessions, 2-3 weeks into it. And there's a lot of self-doubt. I have a very bad ramp up of self-doubt when I start a prep. And it's because I hold an extremely high standard of myself. I expect myself to execute perfectly on day one, which is, it's insane. Like Terry, it reminds me every time. He's like, I've changed your stimulus. I've changed everything. You will take weeks to adapt to this training cycle. Don't put these on you. Don't put these harsh restrictions on yourself. He's usually very forgiving in those first couple of weeks and very like, okay, remember, we know this is hard. Once I've pushed past that and I'm pretty much at my lowest physically, meaning I'm in a lot of pain. I've trained many back-to-back times, probably, more than I've needed. I start to get on the other side of that self-doubt to where it's like, no one can touch me because no one can hurt like I can. No one can work like I can. It doesn't matter. And then that's where I blossom and that's where I grow. And now sitting at where are we just under a week out, I'm proud. I'm proud. I'm proud of my prep. I'm proud of my mental state. I'm proud of what I've put forth so far. And that Saturday is going to basically be me introducing you all to my art exhibit. I'm going to be showing you my art. That's how I view it.
All right. So I want to touch on two things. First, you mentioned the confidence. And one of the quotes that I found through your social media is confidence is a stain they can't wipe off.
Yep.
What are the things that challenge your confidence the most?
So, that's easy. OSG regionals. When I went to South Carolina, OSG regionals, I had a dumbbell. It was going to be a Max Circus dumbbell. At that time, I was training for Max Circus dumbbell for the Colorado state record here. I was hitting 120. Easy. Can't hurt me. I failed 90 pounds at regionals. Tanked the event. I was supposed to win that event to set up my day so I could win. Easy peasy, right? Don't have to work that hard. That killed me. And Panda, Christine Matthews, was
Yes.
there. She pulled me aside and she was like, Kay, now you have to go die on deadlifts and you know how to die. And she was right. I just shut it off. You can't hurt me. I think I got like 20 reps or something on their car deadlift. It was ridiculous. But that was the transition. I that post, like that line from Wheezy or Lil Wayne, I can hear it. That's what that's in reference to. Like, you can't wipe that off of me. I've already been through that.
I love that. And then Go Panda. Hope she has a speedy
recovery.
I was supposed to co-commentate with her, and then that happened, and I was like, oh no. All right. So speaking of artwork, you were talking about the artwork on the competition floor. I want to know about the artwork that I see in your hair, because again, doing my little research, every time there's like a different competition, it almost feels like the transition period is like from competition to competition to competition. What triggers the hair changes? What inspires the haircuts? Because they all look fabulous and so much fun.
Thanks. It's emotion. It's emotion about how I'm feeling. It's a direct reflection of where I am at mentally. When I shaved my head right before OSG, I was mentally low. I was physically strong, but I was mentally low. I had lost my job. I had lost, which was a big part of my identity, right around the holidays. Like, come on, man. Like that tanked me. And then it's like, man, I'm just not putting on the size that I want and mentally low. So it's like, all right, shave it. I need a new beginning. I'm going to come back stronger for this. And then OSG was kind of like me doing that. Like, I proved to myself I belonged with 73s. And then changing the color, adding brightness, things like that. It's just a reflection of my pride, my excitement to be able to show and demonstrate to the world what I'm privileged to do every day.
I like to read different quotes. I always sign up to newsletters for authors like Ryan Holiday. He wrote Obstacle is the Way, and then James Clear, who did The Power of Habits, or Atomic Habits, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. And so he shared one of the quotes that actually made me think of you. And it says, you will do foolish things, but do them with enthusiasm. And the reason I thought about you there is because around the same time, I was reading an article about how you got into strongman. And I don't even want to call it a transition, because it wasn't like you did CrossFit and then you started dabbling in strongman while you were still doing. You straight up just went CrossFit to strongman after your first competition. Yep. So, have you always kind of thrown yourself into something new passionately?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
My husband reminds me of it all the time.
Huh?
My husband reminds me of that all the time. He's like, you can't He's like, you don't dabble. He's like, you don't dabble, you don't sample, you just 100 miles an hour. Yes. Because if I'm giving it my time and I'm giving it my energy, then that's what it's getting. It's getting my time. It's getting my energy.
So you've been a project manager, right? Are you still a project manager? Huh?
A product manager.
Oh, sorry, really product manager. Well, there goes my joke. So I'm gonna have to get rid of that one.
Sorry.
So, no, you're okay. You're okay. So you're dealing with a lot of like managing. What's it like managing a thing 1 and a thing 2?
It's really cool. It's interesting. My thing 1, my day job, lets me be really creative, but in a different way. So I at heart, I'm a scientist. I have a bachelor's of science degree. It's in business IT. I love building things. I love making things. I love understanding why people want to build things or make things or buy them and what they do with them. So my thing 1 lets me manage my research and my market analysis and things like that. And I get to grow products and things. So that's extremely satisfying. And then my thing 2, strongman is basically me time, me to manage my own heart and my own wants and desires and not worry about, what's going to sell, what is going to make the stakeholder happy, what is going to make ROI. That doesn't matter. I'm the stakeholder. It's my ROI on thing 2. So that fills different cups.
I love that. So don't yell at me. But the joke I was making with thing 1 and thing 2 is I saw that on one of your posts. It was the Dr. Seuss theme birthday for your kids.
Yes.
And you dressed them up as thing 1 as thing 2. So what do they think about their mom being one of the strongest people in the world?
I think they think it's pretty cool. I've definitely caught my son a handful of times, like with a group of people or, text message like, oh, my mom's like the strongest woman in Colorado. Or when I came over from OSG, she's the 12th strongest woman in the world. And it's like, well, 12th US, U73. But yeah. Okay, you can think that.
Semantics.
Don't worry about that. But I think it really hit home for them in Scotland when they got to see how important that show was. And for me to be actually called a professional strongwoman in Europe, that I think was where they're like, wow, this is pretty cool. Like, this is not something that's just like a hobby or she does Pilates or whatever. Like, this is pretty cool.
So real quick, I saw a Scotland post and you were just taken aback by like the scenery and I've heard beautiful things about Scotland. And I love the fact that you finished this, like, hopefully we find the fairies or something. Did y'all find any fairies?
We did not. Man, that was one of the coldest days in Scotland, but it doesn't even have, I don't have words like for how incredible the scenery is there. My kids were such troopers. Like all the hikers we passed in the fairy pools, they all have this like really serious hiking gear on, this cold gear. And we're like in jeans, born primitive polos or pullovers rather. And we're just like freezing to death. But we just wanted to see like some of the pools, which we did get to see, but we did not see fairies.
Oh, that's a bummer. So you seem to gravitate towards cold places, Scotland, Colorado, and then you came from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
You're a big Phillies fan.
I am.
Okay. Do you like the Eagles?
Heck yeah. Go Birds.
Okay. I'm from Dallas.
Oof, that sucks.
It does, because I can't stand Cowboys fans. Yeah. Any Cowboys fans that's watching this, I'm from Dallas and I can't stand y'all. I got you. Jason Kelsey. Did you see the video with his wife calling out that fan that was being rude to them?
I sure did. I have never felt closer to someone that I never met in my life. Fun fact, though, in high school, I played her high school in field hockey. She was a junior. I was a freshman.
Did you go against her?
Yeah, didn't even know who she was. I mean, obviously, she wasn't married then. Neither of us were. But yes, my mom sent me an article and I was like, yeah, Mom, I played field hockey with her freshman year.
Like brush with fame, right?
Yeah, not a big deal, but yeah.
All right. So what is your most memorable Philadelphia sport memory?
Oh, man, the World Series 2010 with the Phillies. I was actually in town after we graduated. I had my first job at Comcast and we watched the game at Tir na Nog, which is a super cool Irish bar near the Comcast Center. And everybody just like went insane, like in the city. That was the coolest memory ever. I'll have that forever. Yeah. And then we moved here.
Why did you move to Colorado?
My husband's job. They moved him from Newtown, Pennsylvania, so he worked in Newtown, PA, and we lived in Philly. And then they closed that plant and brought us out here to Colorado. Littleton is where his work is located now.
Gotcha. I feel like that's one of the better transitions when it comes to essentially places that you can get moved to. So, I know Philadelphia is always going to be home, but what about Colorado? Like, speaks to you?
Man, without Colorado, I wouldn't have the community I have. This doesn't exist where I came from. I have met some of the best and most dearest friends just through this sport and just through this community that, like, you know, I'm in their weddings. I'm at their kids' christening. I'm at their graduations. Like, I would not have had this network if I stayed where I was. I was very much just going to be, you know, another mom with raising some kids and driving them to private school every day. And that's about it. Yeah.
And then part of your community is the Iron Titan gym, right? Yeah.
Yes.
That's the home gym, which I've heard great things. And I've talked to you. I'm sure you know that I interviewed Justin and Katie, one of my favorite interviews so far. Did you happen to see the blooper with Katie?
I don't think so.
Okay. I'm going to send you the short because I asked her first because she was in the middle of answering something, but then she just went blank and she just starts dropping like an F-bomb. And we were just trying. We had to like restart like 2 times because we kept laughing. But so how's it feel to know the promoter so closely and seeing them put together an event that includes 650 athletes? They're going to be running 12 lanes at the same time. What's it been like to see that so close?
I'm in constant awe of the two of them. Honestly, they are two of the most selfless people I've ever met. I don't know how they do it. They have kids the same age as ours. They both work a full-time job. Like I am so like, thank you isn't enough. The things that they do, like, not even kidding you. A couple nights ago, they're in the midst of them getting ready. They're filling like 600 sandbags with sand. One of our deadlift platforms got this like huge hole in it. And when you pulled, it would like make you turn, which is very dangerous. Katie drops what she's doing. She goes to Home Depot, buys plywood, pulls it up, fixes it. And she's like, well, you can't deadlift on there. So we got to fix it right now. Like the comfort and just like like I'm in awe. I'm speechless. I'm honestly.
Oh, I love that. I love how you talk about, I love how you talk about other people's successes or their ability to overcome obstacles. You've shown that throughout the whole interview, and I love that. I really do. So real quick, I want to talk about you are sponsored by Cradle Strength Equipment.
Yes.
How'd that relationship start?
I bullied him into it. I did. I DM'd Andrew like, oh my gosh, 4 or 5 years ago. And I was like, hey, how do I get on your team? That was it.
That was it?
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, hey, I'll tag whatever you want, like whatever you need. Yeah. And we just had this like amazing relationship. He is another one. He's extreme. He has worked tirelessly for this community. He's driven to shows that I've competed in.
What's his full name real quick?
Hold on. I gotta bring it up my phone.
You're like Andrew Kratos?
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's his name because duh. But yeah, I mean, his main page is the Kratos page.
Do you ever run into that situation where you see people that you see on Instagram all the time, but you can't remember their name and all you can remember is like their username? And you're like, hey, what's up, Big Booty 42?
Exactly. And that's where I'm at right now. No, he's driven. He's met me in Iowa. He's met us at the Arnold. He's dropped off grip shirts. He came all the way up here for PSL 64s when I was in Denver the previous summers.
Yeah.
Like, how many sponsors do you know that's going to do that?
Very few. I know there's some really good ones that do it, but they're far and few in between.
And then like even, you know, John and Darren from World's Strongest Opinions, do they help us out as much as they possibly can too? I'll get Venmos from them. Like, hey, I know you got a show this week. Here's $100. Here's $200. This covers something amazing. Like, like this community I know it gets a lot of crap sometimes, but man, look beyond that. There's a lot of good people.
Have I told you my theory about about the stage that strongman's in right now?
Uh-uh.
Okay. My theory is that right now, like if we're talking about like you're raising somebody, right now we're in the teenager phase where we're showing moments of maturity, but we still hanging on to some really immature habits that are really stopping us from really becoming the best version of that the sport can be. So that's how I always visualize. I was like, we need to be tough on ourselves. Huh? Go ahead.
Spot on. That's spot on. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's one of those, like, we need to be tough on ourselves to like correct those things. But man, look at how much the sport has accomplished here in the last few years alone.
Yeah. That's important to highlight because I think we lose sight of that sometimes. And I get frustrated. I think we all do, but it's like, hey, chicks are on the main stage at Arnold. That wasn't a thing when I started. Wasn't even a dream. That's pretty cool.
Was there even a show at Arnold's at all?
Not when I went 2017, 2018. And when I mean went, I meant as a spectator. No,
I don't think I remember seeing it until 2021 or 2.
Yeah. 1, I believe.
Yeah, because I remember that was the first time that we saw it.
Badass.
Yeah. So we're almost coming to the conclusion to our conversation. I'm just going to throw like these random little questions based on things that I have found about you. Oh no, hold up. There we go. Found it. All right. So do you still have the bunny brown sugar?
I do.
What's the story there? Y'all just found it or bought it or?
I had guilt because he was traveling for work a bunch and my kids wanted a dog and I said no to a dog because I'm the person that's working from home and home all the time. And I know that I can't do it by myself. So they ended up at a pet shelter here and we have a bunny rabbit.
Okay.
Compromise.
You were working from home. I understand that. Okay. I'm a big dog person. So
I'm not anti-dog. I love them. I do, but we're not there yet. They won't get the attention that they need yet.
I love that you thought about that. How old are your kids?
They are 12 and 10. So they're like right there.
Yep. We're close.
We're very close.
So I hope foster dogs. And then one of the biggest gaps between why people bring back a dog that they get is because they only go by what they look like versus looking up what they were bred for originally. And that tells you a lot on what the type of dog you should get based on your lifestyle as well. So I love the attention to that detail.
Thank you.
High five.
Yeah, all right. Dogs. I don't want them to suffer here.
Yeah, exactly. My Alaskan Malamute, Thor, he passed away this last year. One of my goals had been for him to get to Colorado so he could be in the snow and everything. And that was the goal for this year before he passed away. It was a random spontaneous pneumothorax thing that happened out of nowhere. So real quick, I'm going to share something and I want to know the answer to this. Give me 1 second. I tell you, I dig when I'm looking for y'all stuff. Okay, ready? I want to know the answer to this.
Ooh.
What is that song that, you're tired, you're beat up, mentally, you just don't want to keep going? What is that song that makes you go Hulk Hogan?
Oh man, that's tough because that's very situationally mood dependent. Honestly, right now, I'm really in my lady rap era. Digging Glorilla right now. I mean, come on, Meg Thee Stallion, Sexy Red, anything like that. I think Apex Strongman Games, they were like, hey, what song do you want us to announce you to? And I said, Get It Sexy by Sexy Red.
Yeah.
I'm an upbeat person. Anything 2 Chainz, like 2 Chainz will that'll get me there. Any of my training outtakes, you'll see me like in between sets, like vibing. And then I can also go to a knocked loose point of view as well. So it depends on the vibe.
On a what?
Like knocked loose. I love her.
Oh, gotcha.
Delicious. Very good. Mm-hmm. But again, it's like, are we going for violence? Or are we just going for like confidence, a little ego, a little boost?
I highly encourage you to make a Kim Scott competition or training playlist because I feel like a lot of people, it would speak to them.
Okay. I like that. I will do that.
All right. And then I'm just double checking that I asked all the questions that I wanted to ask. Because I'll beat myself up later if I missed a question where I was like, oh, that would have been perfect. All right. So last question. What do you want to tell all 649 athletes that are coming to Colorado? What's one thing that you really want them to be like, hey, if you have time to do one thing in Colorado, at least do this.
Okay. One thing in Colorado, I would say get up in the morning. If you're in a hotel or your Airbnb, wherever it is, have your coffee outside in the morning. Ground yourself in the morning here. I'm an East Coaster. I'm going to tell you right now, it's way different here than it is there. You're closer to the sun. Everything just feels different. I would say ground yourself here in the morning at least one time and get outside and do a trail. Go to Idaho Springs. You don't have to go very far. Go to Boulder. Go type in your Google open spaces and just go do a quick loop, especially if you've not been out yet, because maybe where you're from is kind of cold or dark and gloomy and rainy. Get some sunshine. It's a total mood changer.
I love that. That is an amazing answer. Before or after the competition?
I wouldn't do, if you're cutting weight, I wouldn't do trails. If you're cutting weight, I wouldn't do trails. I would ground. I would ground in the morning. When you get done and you refeed, I would do a small one. But if you're cutting weight, I would just ground yourself.
I love that. All right, Kim, thank you so much. I know you have a busy schedule. You have nationals coming. I can't wait to actually meet you in person. I'm looking for, I think I've talked to you since for almost 2 years now.
2 years, yeah.
We finally get to meet. I'm so excited. Yeah. So again, thank you so much for giving me some time of your day, busy schedule and everything. Great answers. I really enjoyed this conversation, getting to know you at a deeper level than just as an athlete. And I can't wait to see you next week.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Take care, Kim.
See ya.
Bye.